I'm Garland Thompson, Media and Program Manager for the Salinas Public Library. These interviews are presented as part of Salinas Stories. The interviews are as recorded and do not necessarily represent the views of the City of Salinas or the Salinas Public Library. For further information, see the City of Salinas Disclosure and Use Policy.
My name is Moni Lujan, Salinas resident, musician, B-12 bomber.
Jesus Juarez, Salinas resident, proud member of Baktun 12, proud member of Los Illegals, and lucky to consider all these guys my friends.
Vanessa Garcia. I grew up in Prunedale, but I live here in Salinas. Been with Baktun for, I don't know, since 01 or 02.
Adelita Serena. Grew up here in Salinas, went to high school here at Alisal, and just really happy to be here.
Manuel Escamilla, aka Manolo Burns, Manny Fresh, 2 cents. No mercy. Manimal. I'm just happy to be here. Consider these all my best friends. Go back to 12.
Marcos Cabrera, husband, father, audio correspondent for the Monterey Herald, and Baktun 12 member since 1997.
Hernan Gutierrez, Baktun 12 member, East Salinas resident, and just happy to be here with everybody.
I'm Chago, Luis Santiago Juarez, and one of the conspirators of this whole thing, going back 20 years deep now.
Rafael Garcia, East Side resident, lifelong, born and raised in the Alisal. Member of Baktun 12, Bad Karma. And glad we can all be together.
Hi, my name is James Coronado. Everyone here and all my friends and family call me JP though. I've been a member of Baktun 12 since 98, I guess. I don't know, the 90s are kind of a blur, but pretty much got involved like 98 or so. Chavo and Marcos and Rafa and Vic and all of us were all going to school together in the same time frame, and it just snowballed from there.
Adrian Zaga Morales Vélez, and just happy to be here and excited to share stories with all my friends and family.
Victor Martinez, Salinas resident, born and raised, father of my 12-year-old son, and just Baktun since '97, and just happy to be here with my friends.
My name's Javier Tamayo, also known as Chato. I'm a Baktun member as well, and lifelong resident of East Salinas.
Yeah, for the record, it's pretty much East Salinas. Yeah. With the exception of Vanessa and Adrian, but she lives in East Salinas. and actually,
some of my best friends are from East Salinas.
Actually, an East Sider lived with Adrian back in the early '80s. That was my older brother, and we didn't realize that till we figured that one out later on. It was kind of crazy, but yeah, that's it.
So I'm interested in knowing exactly how Baktun 12 got started. I mean, who kind of put it together? You were all actors. You all went to the same school. How did it get going?
The way we started was we were all friends, loosely connected. We all just liked to hang out with each other, and Chago was part of Chago Adela with Los Illegals, you know, and Jesus were part of Los Illegals, and so I knew them. Marcos was a rapper, hip hopper, he's a writer, Eastside legend there, MC, and then JP as well. And so we were all just kind of loosely connected, and I put together this event with this idea with Adrian and a few of us about just having like an East Side like gathering. So we brought everybody together, and we call it the East Side Funk Fest, and it was at Barton in '97. And it was good. It was a good turnout. And after that, we just all started hanging out more and doing more projects, and more ideas started coming together. And so we started collaborating. At that point, it was just like, instead of everybody having their own like name or their own identity, you know, we came up with this idea of forming this bigger group, and the name was Baktun 12, really based on a book that Adelita let us borrow, and I don't think we ever gave it back to her. It was Jose Arguelles, right? Jose Arguelles, the Mayan theory factor. And it was a great point. It was just talking about how the Mayans broke down time and the way they considered time. And so when we were looking at, when I was reading it, the time where we're at right now is the 12th Baktun, which is really the 13th Baktun if we count the zero. But, you know, we decided now Baktun 13 really just doesn't count, really wouldn't be well. So we just call it Baktun 12, and it's just really what we are.
That's great. So tell me about some of these early performances. I mean, what were they like? You know, what'd you collaborate on and get together and do?
Go ahead. Okay. Well, you know, when I first met Chago, he didn't even meet me. I just saw him. He kind of just did a street theater performance. It was in the cafeteria or in the hall of Hartnell, and all of a sudden he just started banging on a pot or something, and started yelling and was like, ah! Everyone was like, who the hell is that who's that crazy guy over there? And I was real calm because I was born in Salinas, but I was raised in San Jose, and I had come back to Salinas when I was 18, and then it was a time in my life where I was just, you know, experimenting a lot. So when I saw them, I was kind of just mellow, and I was watching them, and I was like, yeah, I like that, man. They have a message. They're loud, they're cool, they're crazy, they got everybody's attention. I'm interested in this, you know? And it was just like, literally, like, it was just, look at us, and then a message, and then a quick message, and then they were gone, you know? It was like stealth, like covert maneuver, like theater brain work, you know what I mean? Like, we're gonna go in your brain, we're gonna plant a seed, and then we're gonna be mysterious and leave, and you don't know who we are. And it was beautiful. I was like awed by it. Like I was taken aback, like, wow, I want to be part of that, you know? And whenever I've ever decided in my life to be a part of something, it's always manifested for me. So it was just like, boom, there it is, you know? So then we started just hanging out. I started hanging out with them, and then and kind of just going to different events with Los Illegals, and kind of just, you know, putting signs on, and kind of trying to get my level of comfort into what they were doing already for quite some time. So I think, and maybe somebody else can piggyback off that, because that's.
Well, I think if you go back to the origins, everyone's going to have their own kind of different story, their different experience of what their first performance with the group was. And my earliest recollections were going back to Los Illegals, when Chago and Adela and Jesus were traveling up and down the coast, literally, in a van. And they brought me along for one of their shows up to Berkeley after they had pulled an all-nighter coming from Los Angeles. They were rock stars, you know, and they kind of brought me into that fold. And those first shows, we would travel just like every other week practically. If we weren't going to the Bay, we were going to LA, or we were performing somewhere at some little community event. We used to perform at marches. There would be UFW marches. We'd go to the street corners, and Chago would just give us a sign and a character. And really, what was great and brilliant about it was like that no one had to have any sort of real theatrical experience. All Chago, and I refer back to Chago because he was really the catalyst for a lot of the creative stuff. Rafa was kind of our coach, kicking us in the rear end and getting us kind of motivated to want to do this stuff. And Chago was the visionary. Chago would just, all he wanted from you was a commitment that you were going to go up and you were going to do, play that character. So you would play a Farmero if you had a Farmero sign, or you would play a landowner if you had a landowner sign, And there was never any real script in the early going for me, in my experience. It was just more like freestyle, freestyle teatro. And for me, I was an MC, and I love freestyling. It was just a whole just a new medium for me to kind of get into character and get a new rhythm and find a new beat. And we would just literally, you asked us what were those shows like. We would literally perform anywhere and everywhere. We would invade college campuses during Mecha conferences when all the students would be coming out, and just bum rush the hallways and have a captive audience of about 300 or 400 Mecha students, just with Chago's rhymes. Chago was writing rhymes, and we would just memorize them, and we would bum rush the show, and it felt like we were a rock band. It felt like we were a theatrical troupe, but it felt like none of that. It was so raw and original and exciting, and we were all in our early 20s or mid 20s, and just even thinking about it right now is giving me a rush. Those were wild times. We were on our '97 Master P No Limit swag. Seriously. That's what it felt like. We were going with it. We were guttering with it. But it was intelligent. It was so intelligent because Chago knew his stuff. All the stuff he was writing was written from the point of view of a poet and a true artist. And all of us. Some of us had more experience, in performance art or as artists than others, but we all had our own individual things and individual talents that we brought to the table. And Chago was able to kind of play to our strengths with whatever role and whatever thing he wrote. So, yeah, that was my experience, my early experience.
I think when you talk about roots of everybody here, mine goes way back, and then I start feeling old when I think about how far back. But I want to say that, me, Chago, we had been friends since high school, and had established a good friendship, and we were young punks, young Chicano punk rockers when it was not very popular to be punk. And all of the students here were cholos or jogs, and we definitely had this alternative experience as young Chicanos with listening to Dead Kennedys and other socially correct punk rock lyrics in our heads, and I think we planted our own seeds at that point, and then opened our minds at that young kind of pivotal age, and then kind of just harnessed that open-mindedness and just kind of seeing things differently, walking down the streets, and when we looked around, we kind of seen things a little bit differently. But from there, because that was just us as students and as friends, and living in our neighborhoods, we would want to experiment, with time and space, basically, because that's what I felt like we were doing. We were experimenting through teatro, like how we could affect like that space and time. So at that point for me, I went and did like my first like year at teatro camp. I had purple hair, and it was just really different back then. I had piercings in my face, and after that first summer at teatro camp, I mean, we had experience here at the Mullins Theater. We were like, here trying to pass the time, to avoid like the school structure. This was a safe haven being here at the Mullins Theater, but and it just being with other like young artists. But then like after teatro camp, it kind of threw a different spin on it for me, like kind of just that whole like Chicano teatro experience, and it changed my life. And I met like a lot of really like good people, influential people. But then from there, like that's when we spawned Los Iligos. That's when, like, I think then we started really trying to experiment with those around us. And like, I remember moving into, the neighborhood, and then Mark was my neighbor, It was like crazy, because that's when I really met Mark and Tyro, and and then just like that, I remember that, like really becoming friends with Marcos and
Countryside.
Yeah, exactly, Countryside. That was a whole, then boom, like then from there I remember the day that Chago came over and I introduced you to Mark. It just kind of all spawned into like this collective of friends and energy, and like I say, we just started to really harness like that energy and started to experiment with time and space, because for me that's what it was. It was taking the words that Chago put on paper, getting together with people that we could vibe with, and then altering that space with our body and our words, and then taking that to the streets, to anybody who would listen. And sometimes, we'd get asked to go do this, and or sometimes we just do it without permission. And that's when you realize that you can affect that time and space and warp it. And so I feel definitely like, we were like shapeshifters, in that sense. That's how I felt. And so we then, would move forward with Los Iligos. Then Bad Karma came. And then under the umbrella, we formed Baktun 12. And that is like when we started to really like embrace as many people as we could to be a part of that family. So, it just grew and grew, and we just started to pull whoever, we thought was interested or we thought had potential. I mean, people from high school, people who were we'd seen at the Mullins Theater. Hey, remember you, I remember that was Victor. I remember. I mean, Victor, I remember you, again, this was the safe haven for people who wanted to pass time and graduate, and they'd come, okay, let's take theater. Yeah, get easy A, easy B. But then next thing you know, we would meet us here, and then, then they realized that, they really liked what we could do. I remember I'd see, and then, I don't know, it just gets lengthy, so I don't want to talk forever, but that was kind of my experience and how I kind of perceived things, and it just felt like kind of like how, a snowball effect, just like JP mentioned. It was a snowball effect, and it was contagious, and when we, would go somewhere to perform, it was to really change and plant that seed and change that space forever at that time. And, so, obviously people, we came, me having to move doesn't, mean, or people having to move because we have kids or jobs or whatever, but we're all still a family. And so, people, if, for instance, when I started to segue out, that's when Vanessa came in. So it was good to, have somebody come in, another female, and weave her in.
That's all this energy.
Yeah, definitely. It was definitely a different experience. Also, being like the only female for so many years. Yeah, it definitely was like, these were my brothers, and they all respected me, and they all also always like, made sure nobody disrespected me, and so I always felt very, very safe, and very much, had a place, and felt like an equal. And so that was a good experience. That definitely like set the tone for other things in my life as well. But yeah, it definitely wouldn't have probably been the same. I don't know. I just feel like there definitely always needs to be that female and male presence somewhere, and even if it's not like on stage, it's somewhere like off stage or somewhere helping. But yeah, definitely needs to be a balance. And I think for me being here, there was a balance. And then when I wasn't here, Vanessa was here, and so there was always that female energy and influence. Moment there.
That a little bit. Yeah. Girls on stage. Can I add something really quick, guys? Yeah.
Being thrown into the fire. For a bunch of us, that's how we started getting on stage. It was Chago with a script. Sometimes $50, $100 would be dangled in front of us, and that's how I started personally. So being thrown into the fire, and I'm not sure I'm not the only one who started that way. So, but once you get up here and once you actually start doing it, I mean, you like it, You want to do it more and more. It's just a matter of getting through that initial hesitation of being up here on stage. And at one point in time, we've all been up here on stage together. So, yeah, I just wanted to add really quickly, just being thrown into the fire. Chago had a natural knack of getting cats to to perform a piece on stage, on this very stage, So yeah, no, I just want to thank Chago for that, and that's why we see 13 cats up here, because I'm sure half of us were initiated, by being thrown up here on stage. So I think that was very, very cool.
And there are more. There's our compadre Frank Sanchez, who is real instrumental in just being this. He's pretty much a missing presence right now, and was there from I would say with Los Illegals. It was just going back technically into the whole evolution of it all. Graduating here at 1990 and then going to El Teatro Campesino in the summer of 90. That's where I picked up a lot of the political and social education, from that Teatro Campesino. And just really being starstruck by all the presence, the folks that were there, the stories, and it pretty much basically learning what I could learn, pull those tools, and bringing it back here and feeling not really consciously understanding that I'm gonna bring it back to the neighborhood, but that's basically what happened with this project. It was called A Christmas Carolique. That was in 1991. The Alpha Center for the Fine Arts helped us put that together, helped me kind of mentor myself and put that together. That brought in Adelita she had already took a workshop at Teatro Campesino, and like she said, we were already kind of hanging out since high school, and then eventually it was, and my younger brother Jesus was, he was an audience member, and he was always backing me up in whatever way, just being entertained, just the fact that I was entertaining people, or our projects were being able to hold people's attention was, that was enough, that was just felt so much, to get that, to actually receive that. And then came a gentleman named Rudy Sanchez, who approached me and wanted to do teatro on the east side, and that's where we started. We started this. We recruited Adelita and another gentleman of Junior Ceja, Tony Marquez, Juan Carlos Grijalva, and another young woman named Adriana. This is 1983. It was like right before Pete Wilson introduced the 187, Proposition 187, and so we didn't see the anti-immigration hysteria start bubbling up, but we went with the name Los Ilegos Comedy Clica, not to be confused with Los Ilegos, the punk group from Los Angeles, or Los Ilegales, this all boy like this dance group. And, it was like we'd always be confused. No, we're Los Ilegos Comedy Clica from East Salinas, And Frank Sanchez, who's, like we all know him personally, and we all have an experience with that guy. And hopefully we'll be able to catch up with his stories. And so, that's pretty much in terms of groundwork. I remember being able to seeing Moni. He was in the 6th grade when I performed for his elementary school, and there was like connections being made already from the start, and now we're this family has reached out to as far out to like Northern California, Yolo County, and down in LA, Long Beach with Adrian. So yes, we're moving and growing stronger day by day.
How many do you think there are of you all together?
Everybody here, Frank, Marcos' little sister, Denise, technically Fern is not here, Fernando Garcia. I don't know if we're missing it.
Helping us out today. We're around,
Rasta John.
Rasta John's always
Eastside legend.
That's why I was just speaking a little bit on just like when I first like he just mentioned when I was in the 6th grade, Chaco came to my school, Barton School, and put us. That's how I first opened my eyes to teatro, and he actually got my class and put us to play together, and it was pretty cool. It opened my eyes. I was into music and stuff, but I already seen the connection there that day. So like later, just became, it just came together in the late 90s, I think, when I started. I already knew Mark and Rafa and everybody, so I'm a musician. So that's when the B-12 Bombers came into play, and we actually started playing music in some of the things, and that was I don't know, it was a super Ivy time for me. Just all those times, it was right, and I could say Grassy Knoll era, right?
Philo was also.
Whatever.
They can edit it out. Remember we had the Philo era too, where we had the Grassy Knoll, Felix Lawrence
the Philo era. That's when the music. I just think, I always loved the theater so much, and I was a musician, and I see the connection in the arts, and I was just happy that time did come along to where we found the music in there. It was a good feeling, and I appreciate all those vibes, everyone.
The earlier productions, well, even now, is like what we would wear. These are our costumes, and so this is what we would wear. We would go to a show. Chago would have us go to a show or something, and he needed, and the only thing he had was an idea of a storyline, and then a cardboard, like a sign that you would put over your head, and it had a name like I think they were saying, business owner, or we'll make up some kind of crazy name, and
Pete Wilson.
Pete Wilson, and then. He would give us those. He said, "Okay, this is what you're gonna play. Do this." And so come up with something and kind of create the script on your way down to the event. Which was always crazy because it never always worked out the way you planned it. But those great opportunities for us to like learn about improv, improvisational theater, and doing that for me was and still is very scary. You're coming up with some idea and you're supposed to make it work with the guy that's next to you. You don't know what he's thinking, but he's doing something, and you try to feed off of each other's energy, and it was always interesting and exciting being able to work that way. I remember one show I was always the driver. I just drove. I just drove. I'll get you there, no matter what. And so they'd perform. My pump-up jam was always like Black Uhuru or Still Pulse, some reggae. It's like revolution, man. That was my fight music. Which they would always hate. But I remember one time we went down to work. It was Chago and Jesus, I think, and I forget Marcos. We went to do a piece at a youth conference. Excuse me, and I think I still have pictures. But they have a pile of signs on the middle of the floor, and they're doing something. They're working on some piece. And they're just going back and they're like, oh, picking that sign. All right, I'll do this one, And so it was like a workshop, And for us, this whole project, it's like a Baktun 12 project. It's like a workshop. Each piece is not complete. There's always new pieces, new ideas. So we put it together. Chago come up with the ideas, and Chago will put it on paper, and then everybody will perform it. So it was always like a 3-man crew, 4-man, 5, and then eventually everybody was like had enough courage to go up on stage, and then we started doing with Marcos and Garland. Slam poetry, and so then all of a sudden there was like these 12 people doing slam poetry all at once at these slam, play events, and it was the craziest thing because nobody who's doing slam poetry with 12 people on stage. 12 Mexicans. 12 Mexicans. So we were like the Beastie Boys rapping and flowing, and then still trying to with the message, and of course, we're not professionals, we're not trained in all that stuff, so it was kind of hard in the ears, I'm assuming sometimes, A little jarring for some folks. A little jarring for some folks, and that was always a good part.
I think the importance of this is like how inspirational I think everyone here has been to one another. I think like when we look at our community, at our society in general, there's this great gap between generations, and if we look here, we're not separated by extreme years of gaps, right? But we are to certain years. I mean, so the homies here are like a decade older than myself, right? But for real, it's like, the first person I met from up here was Ralph, and I met him, I was like, 5-6 years old, and his friend used to be one of my neighbors, who is now currently a superintendent of migrant education for Monterey County Office of Education, Ernesto Vela. And Ralph would always come, Ernie was always late, and so he would always like talk to all the kids and play with us when we played and stuff like that. And I remember I went to that East Side Funk Fest, because I used to read Marcos. Marcos used to write for the Herald, and I used to like look forward to reading Marcos's article every single week.
What was the name of that article? Vibes and stuff.
From 94 to about 99.
A lot of readers. A lot of readers, including myself. I used to. Marcos was a man. I miss that column to this day. And that's where I found out the East Side Funk Fest, and I went, and they're like, yeah, you should check out Los Illegals. They're gonna be cool. So I'm waiting there, and like it's maybe about toward the end of the show, like, oh, these guys ain't showing up, and then they just show up, and I remember it was Jesus, Chavo, I think, Manny, and Frank, and then Marcos was performing there with Assed Out Committee, I think. And it was just AOC. And from seeing that performance, I was like, man, that's something like I'd never seen that. Right? I was like 15 years old, and it was very influential on me. And it really it did motivate me to. My consciousness started developing. I started listening to all this, different music that also was, consciously. The lyrics were about consciousness and stuff like that, and it just motivated me. But unfortunately, like a few years later, I was just demotivated, and I was just like working at a dead-end job, and I remember just hanging out more at the Grassy Knoll, and then one day it was Vanessa and Dee and Iris Flores and some other. One of the other classmates at Hartnell, they were doing a skit that Chavo had wrote for this play, and then they wanted, since the Grassy Knoll was opening up, they were going to perform it for the opening night. And I remember Chavo saying like, you want to get on stage? Fuck it, I'll throw you on stage. And I was like, you know, I was working this dead end job. I wasn't happy with my life, or I was going to school and everything. I was like, well, you know what, fuck it. So I went on there, and it turned my life around. It made me volunteer for a layoff and go back to school, you know, because I was working for corporate America and I didn't really see any future in that. And then, you know, here I get a sense of hope, the light, you know what I'm saying? And so, to me, I'm very grateful for that. And so, you know, it's kind of like this passing, you know, of knowledge and skills and tradition. And I'm very grateful for, you know, Chago, for Marcos and Adela for being our first directors, and Bad Karma with Vanessa and Lil D and Iris. This was like 2001. So I think that's something important. That is definitely generational. It reaches out to people in inspiration and stuff like that.
Yeah, the first person that I met from here was Chago, and it was when I was doing the Christmas plays at the teatro. I think I was like 17, yeah. And so I was doing stuff at the teatro for a while. I did a few Christmas shows, and then I did a workshop, and we did a few actos, and then during one of the events, I think it was called like Bocho Palooza or something, is when I first saw you guys perform. And it was like, there was like just like a big crowd of people, and I knew like Chago was in a group from Salinas, but I'd never seen him perform before. And then all of a sudden, like between acts or something, like these guys come out, and they just started doing stuff and saying a bunch of things, and they were just so like powerful. And it was interesting because you know, like when like the artists are transitioning on stage, people are talking to each other, nobody's really paying attention, and they just came in like almost like a marching band type of thing, but it was like, it rhymed, and it was like poetic, and it was powerful, and it was like interesting and educational. And I was like, wow, they're so good, you know, and I was just really like blown away. And then eventually, like the teatro, we did like a skit. We did a skit with you guys, and then that was like the first time that I that I got to work with you guys doing. I don't even remember what it was called. Yeah. So that was cool, like working with you guys, because I met some of you like here and there before, and then Chago was like the only one that I really like knew, you know, and so we did that skit, and then I was like on school break or something, and I really didn't have time to like do teatro at Teatro Campesino because of its like structured scheduling system. It just didn't work with me.
Structure didn't work.
Yeah, and I was really missing like doing teatro, you know. I was really like kind of bummed out that I wasn't doing anything, but and then I think I wrote an article about you guys for like one of my English classes. So I interviewed like Chago and Frank for this article that I was working on in one of my English classes, and so I got to talk to them a lot about the group and was like learning about the group and everything. And then sometime after that, I think Frank called me up and he was like, hey, do you want to do a piece with us? And I was like, really? Me? You know, I was like, I can barely act, you know, like I don't know what I'm doing. And so I was really like honored that they would even like, you know, consider me to like be on stage with them, because I didn't even consider myself like an actor, you know. I'm like, just get a few lines here and there, you know, like whatever. I didn't know what I was doing. And so I really got thrown into it, because the first rehearsal was at Felix's house, and that was definitely very interesting because it was just a lot of artists there doing their thing, somebody recording something, somebody working on something else, and then another room like rehearsing and doing like whatever, you know. And it was really cool because
the debauchery going on in other rooms.
It was really cool because for me, you know, I was working like with all these guys, and I was the only, you know, like when I came in, I was the only female at the time, and I didn't feel like I had like a lot of respect for them, and they had a lot of respect for me, and they made me really feel like you can do this, and like go for it, and like go for like more than you think you could do. And if you have something that you want to write or contribute, like go for it. Like like this is the setting for your voice, and like let it be heard, And so for me, like coming in, I just felt really welcomed and just really like a part of the group, and like and at the time, like I'm just like this kid from Prunedale, from like the sticks, like I don't know anything about nothing, I just want to perform,
You got no learning?
No. And so they didn't make me feel like I was an outsider at all or anything. They just really included me. There was a lot of camaraderie. And then the Grassy Knoll opened up, and we just started doing a lot of stuff there. And then that's when Chago kind of approached me on the side, and he was like, hey, you should talk to Dee and Hernan about doing your own thing. And I was like, for reals? And he was like, yeah, you guys gotta like do your own thing, but like you gotta do it. Like I can't do it, So he pushed me to like have that own like initiative and like leadership within myself to like talk to them about doing it. It wasn't like Chago going, okay, like you guys are gonna like get in this little group and you're gonna do that. It was like, no, like if you want to do this, you got to talk to them about doing it yourself. You know what I mean? And so I was like, oh, okay. And I talked to them about it. And then the three of us started performing as Bad Karma, kind of like opening up for the guys and everything. And at the time, Adela would do workshops with us and teach us how to do, like body movements and like voice projections, yeah, and stuff like that. And so I always really felt just really welcomed, and Chago would tell us, whatever you gotta contribute, like, if it's something you want me to look at, go ahead and let me know. And I never had anybody that was so like willing to work with me on that kind of level. And I took a political science class that I had with Iris, and somehow we were talking, and somehow it was like we both knew Chago, And so for our project, we decided to do like a teatro project, and we're like, yeah, let's get Chago to work with us, So Chago wrote this piece for me and Iris and this other guy in the class, and Chago really like, just like threw us in these situations, and we performed at like the juvenile hall for like all these like dudes, and they were like, yeah, and we went to like downtown Santa Cruz, and like we just performed like in front of the Gap, like randomly, just like with the sign like saying stuff, and people are like walking by like what's going on, And Chago was our fearless leader, Yeah, so that was, pretty much my experience. And then later on, like we got to contribute and write different things with each other and for each other and stuff. And so I've just always been really thankful that I've been able to work with this group, and especially like we've always just really gotten along, and we've really, been able to like support each other, and it's just always been a really like welcoming, just fun bunch of guys to hang out with. If anything, I had a lot of fun doing it. It was just fun the whole time. Yeah.
I just have a quick question. Could somebody explain the Grassy Knoll? Grassy?
Like the shots came fired from the grassy.
The Grassy Knoll was arts kind of workspace that in downtown Salinas. It used to be the music zone, and I think in 2000, I think about 2000. This guy that we used to work with and collaborate with, his name was Felix Lawrence. He bought a lease. He leased it out the space, and basically we had no real business model for it. It was the concept was going to be that we were going to post shows, do music production, and it was intended to be this kind of multimedia art space slash digital cafe or whatever, whatever kind of pie in the sky vision we had for it. But really, it was just a gathering spot for a lot of artists in the early part of the century in Salinas. It was the only gathering spot really for alternative arts and for live music, and we just burned a hole into the middle of that place. I mean, not bridge burning, not a bad way. I mean, like, we had so much in and out going on there. It was one day it'd be a rehearsal space, one day it'd be people be recording stuff. We'd host open mics there, and really it became the gathering spot, for a year for us. We were at the center of it, but for a lot of artists, that were in Salinas that had no place to go, they went there.
And that was basically it's 10 years. It's a 10-year anniversary of that space, because it was all of 2001 that we were occupying that space in downtown Salinas.
And I think that all this speaks to how important teatro, music, and culture, and like he said earlier, teatro heals, la cultura cura. That's what we say a lot. But it's just like, for me at least, it was teatro came into my life, at a time when I was questioning my self-worth. Like, what am I doing? I'm experimenting. I don't really care. I'm just gonna have fun, a la brava, just out there. I don't care. Tomorrow's another day. Today I'm gonna live, the fullest. And it came to a point where it was like teatro, like when Chago said the same thing to me. You, if you want to do something, you got to do it yourself. We would be on stage and he'd be like, "What do you mean how to act like this? You just do it. Just go do it." And we'd be like, "All right," and then they go out there and just do it. And whatever it was right. And then, because it didn't matter, just become that character, do that. I mean, we were on stage one time, and I don't know what school it was, because we would go to so many different places, and we would go and we would come back, or we would like go, for one show and drive all the way back to Salinas. They'd be like, "Oh, why do you guys just perform to LA and drive back the same day? How do you guys do that?" Well, that's just what we do. But I remember one time he was like, "Just do it," right? And we're like, "Okay." So Marcos wrote a couple pieces, and then we were trying to come up with a name for Bad Karma back then. And then Chago was like, "Remember when we were over there at, I forgot I think UCLA or something? They said, 'Oh, that's Los Illegals. They only bring bad karma,' And then Chago was like, 'Is that right? Yeah, they only bring back. We only bring bad karma, right? You guys' name is Bad Karma.' And we're like, all right, yeah.
And we made flyers.
Yeah. We were all excited.
Los Illegals brings bad karma.
Yeah. And we were like, yeah, we're Bad Karma. And we were like Bad Karma to the institution. We were like Bad Karma to the giant. And we were Bad Karma to whoever told us that we were worthless. We were Bad Karma to individuals that said that we couldn't do something. You know what I mean? And some of those sometimes those people end up being your family. Sometimes they end up being, whoever. A girlfriend, a boyfriend, a whatever. And teatro is like that brother or that sister or that mother or that father or that grandfather that said, "Hey, it's all right, mijo. You go and perform and then you have fun and people are gonna clap. They don't care what you do, And at that one time we were, I forgot it was Cal State North or I don't know, because we would just drive, and then we were there, and then Cypress Hill came on, and then like everybody from the stage came up on the stage and was jumping up and down together. It was quite remarkable. I was like it was crazy. And then we went to LA one time as Bad Karma. And it was an interesting event. We went to USC and performed for like a little cafe, and we ended up, I don't know how we ended up driving back. This guy right here drove us back, and it was we all looked at LA like the belly of the beast, and it was like we looked at the belly of the beast. We all looked, and it was breathing. It was like.
We had to get the hell out of
literally,
there.
we saw it. Like all of us saw it. It was like. I think it was Jesus that said, "Hey guys, look!" And we all turned around at the same time. We're like, and Rafa's like driving, and I think he even looked and still driving.
I drive like this.
Yeah. So then we all looked at LA and it breathed, and we all saw the same thing. It was like collective consciousness, and we're like, "Oh shit!" And we just took off back to Salinas. But it was hilarious.
I want to squeeze something in because I don't know how much time we have, but like just in terms of like the makeup of this group and the work that we've done,
none of this would have worked if we didn't all genuinely like and care for each other. And individually, like I can look all across this room, I've shared like real intimate experiences with each and every single one of these people that's sitting around me. And I think really that's the key to what made this work, why people liked it, you know, why people even bothered to watch us and pay attention to what we do, is because we just liked hanging out with each other. And I think a big part of that, you know, a big part of that just shows in our performances, you know. And I just, you know, we've come to regard each other as family and stuff, and you know, real close friendships. And I just want to acknowledge that right now, because these guys played a significant role in my life, you know. And that's a big reason why this is so important to me to be here, and why this group is going to always, for me, you know, be a big part of my life forever, you know.
And just to speak to the spirit of this group and what it's represented and the community we represent, you know, as a kid, you know, I was, you know, like Della said, we were punks. Like, you know, I wasn't a jock. You know what I mean? I didn't get myself into like trouble. You know, quote unquote trouble. Like at least when I was in high school, but it wasn't until like, you know, that we formed, you know, this collective started to form, and I could just say that there was like there was something that I hadn't experienced growing up, and it really kind of finally really sealing. Wow, this is community, you know, and to get the respect of our neighbors, pretty much, like all the homeboys and all the homegirls, like from this neighborhood that. You know, that maybe under a different light they don't get the kind of positive attention that basically, I mean, sometimes any attention is good attention, even if it's negative attention. And you know, for a lot of us, that's what it was. And I think like with this group, it felt like getting their respect. You know, when I say their respect, the respect of the homies in this neighborhood, like literally. Like that's what I really, really, really wanted. I mean, I really felt like I, you know, needed to work for that. That I could prove myself. I mean, I couldn't fight. You know what I mean? I couldn't like throw a ball or nothing to save my ass. You know, but I didn't know karate, but I knew crazy. You know what I'm saying? So that and then to feel like I have, you know, all these folks just backing me up. You know, like my, you know, homeboy Victor over here, my brother Victor, like being able to like share this experience with him on this stage and then take it to UC Santa Cruz. We were both going to UC Santa Cruz, commuting at the same time. He was a driver taking us back and forth to UC Santa Cruz. We're in this other like academic, you know, environment, this other academic world, and then we turn around, we're back here where that reality is, there are two different realities, two different worlds. With Chato, who's not here right now, you know, to have, I remember the first time Chato was with us, like kind of just hanging out with us. It was this trip that we made to San Francisco, and it just felt like if he was entertained and he was listening, like that already felt like, you know, I know I'm doing something right, you know, because he was ready for anything, just like everybody else here, just ready for anything, just down for it, you know, to the almost like just the almost extent of being what being down is. And I think well, I don't think, I mean, I just feel like you know, we have another generation right in front of us. You know, Saul, we have Quetzali, and we have, you know, Manny the Dallas Boys. You know, we have more coming up. You know, Marcos, my brother Jesus. Like, you know, we're Adrian, Ralph. You know, we're working at, you know, creating that next generation, and
good.
And that's pretty much, yeah, that's where we're going, and we'll see you there when we get there.
And that was my next question. Where are you going? I mean,
and I think we have to, at this point, we're at 117.
Yes, I know. We're getting close. Yeah, can you you just tell me a little bit about how you put this successful production together? I mean, what was the idea behind it?
This production or this production?
Yeah, the Alisal. Oh, did you?
Well, Chago had been working on the Alisal project he had been mentioning it to me at family barbecues for the past 5 years. You know, he had brought it up and started conceiving the idea of going into the community and getting stories and learning about our history here in the Alisal. And at these barbecues, at these gatherings, or whenever I would see Chago, I'd be like, yeah, man, sounds good, sounds cool, dude, you know, I'm down. And the time came to go out and do the interviews, and of course, I wasn't down. You know, I didn't have the time to go and dedicate to these interviews. So that was like the initial process of getting this project off the ground. And I believe Marcos, Hernan, Chago, Ralph, Chato were able to go out to the community and conduct some of these interviews. JP, that we're gonna come out here and do on stage in about 40 minutes, and started transcribing these interviews, and eventually those interviews turned into a script, you know. And Charles could probably speak a little bit better on that whole process of turning it into a script. And then personally, my involvement came in when it was time to read that script and perform this production on stage, which is, you know, for me, something that I hadn't done in a while. I guess it had been since we did some of the Baktun 12 stuff with the variety show, Baktun 12 variety show. So it'd been a while since I'd been on stage or even been around these guys, you know, due to, you know, personal stuff that I had to take care of myself on my own, you know, stuff these guys couldn't help me with. And so I felt this would be a good opportunity to give something back to my community, my group, Baktun 12. This is a team. This is a support team, and it's so evident in this project here. Everybody has their place and is able to contribute something to this project, which is, you know, very special to my heart. And so in February we went on the first run. We did 10 shows in February. We did 5 shows in 2 weekends. The middle weekends of February of this year, we did 5 shows each. And it was a really grueling process. Put in some long hours just to get the show off the ground. We worked with Laquin Valdez from El Teatro Campesino, who was able to come in and direct us. And I tell you what, this whole experience and seeing this grow, seeing Baktun 12 grow, has been amazing, you know, because that's what it's doing, guys. It is growing, you know. And like Charles said, you know, the other generations are coming in behind us, and you know, I just feel fortunate to be a part of this production. And for all of us up here on stage, you know, what we got and what we value, and the next project that's coming and the one that's coming after that is just so cool to be able to enter in seamlessly and be a part of something like what we're going to do today, this afternoon. So, you know, to make a long story or long explanation short, you know, the script was written, we put the show on. Through some of the connections in the community, we were able to come back here to Alisal High, to Mullins Theater, where I seen the very first Christmas Carol. You know, I see my brother performing Christmas Carol, Adelita performing Christmas Carol, and was inspired, you know, in these seats to be up here and perform teatro, and just feel very fortunate to be part of the Alisal project. And hopefully we got enough momentum going now to move on. That'll carry us and catapult us into new projects coming up. So I don't know if that answered your question at all, but
absolutely.
Yeah.
You're a very remarkable and inspirational group. The energy just comes through. And this was wonderful.
Thank you. And I'd like to thank Vanessa. Take this opportunity to thank Vanessa, yourself, and Garland for coming out and conducting this interview. And having this energy up here. I mean, to me, it's like I'm like 2 or 3 levels from just like breaking down, crying right now. You know what I mean? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I keep talking, I'm gonna break down and start crying and hugging everybody up here. You know? And then driving off. But yeah, no. The Realizada is something very special to this community. You know, it breaks down the stories, the history of the community, and it's something that we've been doing since 1991, 1992, 1993. You know, for a while now, and it sets the blueprint for a lot of other stories that we want to tell. Yeah. A lot of people's stories that we could tell that are up here on this stage. You know, and yeah. Yeah, I just want to thank everybody.
I just want to go on record right now for the Realizada project. I think I told this to Ralph, but to me, this is the best script that you've ever written, Chago. For me, you know, honestly, this is the best thing I've ever seen, and you have years of this. He told me about the Gil Medina interview many years ago. So I mean, to hear about it from then, but then to see you bring it out on stage, bring it to life, really, it's magic, man. You know, and I wasn't as involved as I would have liked to have been in this project, but to see Jesus come back after his hiatus, and it's like nothing. It's like you're like water. You know, it's like nothing left. It's like you never left. See Chato, who left a little while ago. See Chato filling the spot. You know, that maybe me, myself, or Manolo, or Vic would have done. You know, in the early days, and see Chato come in there, and you really see Chato. If you've known Chato, you see. I watched him grow into a man, and I see this whole new level of manhood with him. I'm so proud of him. To see him perform in this play, and then to see Chago's words come to life, and I know his passion for this community. He lives in Oakland now, but his heart is always here. We're just it's so awesome that we could call you our own here. You know, even though I don't live in the east side no more. I live in the south side now. No. I'm still Salas. I'm still Salas. Don't get it twisted. But you know, this is where my heart is too. And to see our community, if anyone's gonna document and chronicle our community, it better be us. You know, and we were first ones to put it down like that, and it's incredible. You know, and I'm so proud to see this production going. I'm so proud to see everyone here, and I'm so proud to hear that, you know, the Baktun 12 is going to continue on. You know, even with some of, like myself, I don't have the time right now because of my family to be as involved as I want to be. But I could always say, oh yeah, that's my crew. Yeah, we're still putting in work. You know, put my stamp on it. So.
Just wanted to concur on that. First time I seen the show yesterday, and Chago, it definitely like brought tears to my eyes, and luckily I was back there where nobody could see, but it was definitely, it spoke to my heart, it spoke to everybody here, and all of the stories in this show are like, there are stories, and they're the stories that are what make us who we are. Like Mark says, you know, I'm just really proud to be here, and everybody here is still alive, and you know what I mean. Exactly, we haven't lost anybody, and you know, the fact that I've come back here, and it's like I haven't seen you guys, some of you guys, in years, and it's like no time has passed. And I mean, I think that's what makes us family too, you know. It just feels like no time has passed. It feels like I was just here like doing this yesterday.
You don't age either.
Genetics. No, sunscreen. Keep saying.
Biodegradable.
But it's true though. It definitely the ties I have with each and every one of you. We're made of the same fabric, and I think that's what helps us work so well together. That's it. That's all I want to say.
Yeah, I think like with Realisao, and as I was telling Chai during the first run, when I see it, like you can see the progression of Baktun 12. You know what I mean? Every form and shape that it's taken in terms of from the stand-up spoken word to the actos to the variety show structure to and I was, even with Jesus's acting and coming back and stuff like that, and even that what we've been saying kind of being thrown into the fire with Chato. This was like his first full-length play. Before that, I don't think he had more than a couple of lines in our skits and our little pieces. So I think this play is very representative of the development of Baktun 12 as a whole, in this whole production, and again, comes back to childhood, really.
We saw with this, we were able to just kind of crack open this treasure chest of stories that are just pretty much still buried deep beneath this whole area. And we keep hearing folks come up with, oh yeah, well this was what happened to me, or you should talk to my uncle, or you should, or my grandmother or my grandfather, or they were the first ones here, and they named this street after so and so and so and so and so and so. It's overwhelming. It's like, oh my goodness, like wow, what did we do? Like, and it's like it's like you kind of there's this monster, this beautiful monster with all this memory around it, and it's exciting, it's a little overwhelming, there's some anxiety around like, what are we gonna do tomorrow, but right now we have now, and we were able to make it to now. It's 2011. The 12th Baktun is about to come to a close, and so this is an incredible blessing. This production, to be here again, and to capture it like this, it's beautiful. Yeah.
I think this play is it's documenting our history the way we see it, the way Chavo saw it. It's our community, people that make a difference in the lives of many. And you got to interview David, you know what I mean? And that, I didn't know that he had started Lowrider magazine, and that's big all over the world. And it's not KSBW, it's not the Californian, saying it's not them, it's us, or mainly Chago.
It's us.
But it's documenting our own history the way we see it, the way it really is. And I think that's powerful. I think we need more stories.
And also, I'd like to add that, I look back at my time with Baktun 12, and the first time I circled up with the group, and all the past, since '98, just within the group, you could take. There's so many stories that we could just take from our experiences and probably write, Realisao too, you know what I mean? So just as us, as a collective, as a group, we're a tiny, speck of dust as compared to the rest of the whole East Side. Everyone has gone through the trials and tribulations, whether it be family members passing on, relationships going to shit, everyone's gone through good times, bad times, as a group, as individuals. I look back and I like to remember all the good, all the past shows that we had, all the experiences, the road trips, the things that can't be mentioned. There's lots of those things, and we won't go into detail, but but it all got us to where we are now. And I was, when they interviewed my mom and dad for the Real Cell, and took certain stories, the story that I told the Chago that I seen on stage, and I seen people that I know from my community, Rasta John, his mom, like, I seen them on stage without them being on stage. You guys did an excellent job. I'm glad I was here to witness it. That don't look like me. But yeah.
I just wanted to say one more thing, and I think one of the most important things that really kept us all together as a group was like what JP was saying before, things that like the good and bad things that have gone in our lives personally. We all kind of supported each other and had an understanding of whatever was going on in our lives, of why at certain times we couldn't be a part of the group, so there was times where we had to step out, but we were still a part of the group, nobody made each other feel like they were excluded because they had issues of time or whatever they couldn't do, so that's something that is really strong and a part of the group of why we all why we're still sitting on this stage today, because we all supported each other with the outside things that are going on in our lives, and it really helped us all flourish and continue with what the group is doing today. So I just wanted to thank all of you guys for that, for just having that support and understanding of life, I guess,
Yeah, it's probably time.
It's going to be that time, so I got to kick you guys all off the stage now. No, I'm just kidding. But Chato's over here. Chato, would you please mention to us a thought or two? Please give us a thought or two
about this project, about the title, whatever.
Well, I mean, it's a pleasure to be a part of this. I mean, it's a pleasure, and it's an adventure as well. We've kind of been through a lot, the whole crew, in the last couple weeks, and then before, in the first time around, it was how you say, through the good and through the bad. A lot of us have a lot of things going, but I just want to thank you guys for letting me be a part of it. And most of a lot of you guys were my inspiration to I was at a point in my life where I had just gotten out of juvenile detention center. Chago took me to go see the Clash in San Francisco in the Mission in '97. Yeah, and ever since then there was no turning back, man. And, Chago, Ralph, Mark, they all, Jesus, were all really pivotal in making me make the decision to go into teatro and even just to get an education. So, but in regards to the Realizar, it's an honor to just be even a part of it, and I want to thank you guys.
I want to my mom found this morning. This was the T-shirt to the first show we put on.
Oh, fantastic.
1991, it's a Christmas Carol Again. And it was this stage. So we literally bringing it back to the old school. It's got the year, it's got the dates and everything.
Can you?
Yeah. It's your color too, Chavo. Yeah, so
like donated, like the shirts are.
Yeah.
Of course, I've got like crazy colors.
If I may just add one thing, to kind of close it off, for me, it's a great honor to have friends like these people on stage. They're not only my friends, but also my brothers and my sisters. We haven't always been the best for each other, or at each other, or with each other. You know, we haven't always been the most positive people. But as far as us developing and growing up, I wouldn't have had it any other way, because you know, they really challenged me and to be better. You know, to be better who I am. And so I always want to thank you guys for that. For us as Baktun 12, we are a bunch of different little groups. You know, we have all our own ideas, and if one person's got one idea, we might not all of us be willing or have the time to participate or support it, but we support it one way or another. But we'll all, one of us or a group of us will, and that's how we would take something on. And this piece is really a culmination of that, of everything that Chavo has written and put on stage, everything that we've done off stage. We all do our own part, you know, to make this group great, to put material on stage. What I see is for us to continue what we're doing right now, continue to inspire and educate, to continue to be supportive of each other, to grow as a family, to multiply, and then also to be able to share with the outside world our life. You know, as an outside community, the struggles that we have are no different than the struggles of somebody in another world, in another part of the world, excuse me. But we have our own story, very unique, and we want to share that with everybody that's willing to listen, and then be able to also support the arts, find means and have mechanisms in place so that we can continue developing the arts within our own community, so that it grows internally, so that the ideas that come from the inside are able to grow and flourish one way or another, not to have ideas and art imposed upon us, you know, so that we have a way to express ourselves in one way or another. And you're going to see Baktun 12 in its different forms continue to grow, and it's going to be a great adventure, and I'm really looking forward to it all.
And so again, we just to let them know, you know, like Frank Sanchez, also want to mention Medico Castillo, also want to mention Natalia out there holding it down, and Angel right over here, and